her third year now.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's because of the pandemic, maybe because like we know that US is also one of the countries that got impacted by the pandemic. So perhaps it's her third year now, but like she's been like physically in New York for 2 years.
Oh,
yeah, I guess so. So that is amazing. Thank you, Kashal, for the introduction. So like the first year, she's in probably in April or like a few months before she departed, probably because like I think it's like 2020, so during the peak of the pandemic, right? Yeah, is that correct, Kashal? Like when did she first started coming to New York? Like the month and the year?
I came just last year in January of 2021.
January 2021. Yeah. So, like, if tomorrow is January 2023, so it's going to be 2 years, like,
years.
Exactly, yeah.
For 2 years in New York.
2 years in New York, yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so, guys, since Kashka is here, our guest speaker for tonight, so I think we should dive right into the topic. Yeah. Are you guys excited?
Yeah, I cannot wait.
I cannot wait
Very excited
to ask several questions because I know that some of you guys are curious about
Yeah.
Kashka. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so Kashka, we're going to start the session today. It's going to be more of like a talk show, I guess. Yeah, like a very casual talk show. So feel free to answer it according to your own opinion and your experience. And later, if there are any questions from the audience, we will mention it and we'll read it out to you. Okay. All right, so here we go. Okay, Kashka, so question number one. What does New Year's mean to you and the people of New York?
So it's still about New Year's.
I think what New Year's mean to me, it's sort of a signifier where you can make new resolution. There's a lot of start to something. A lot of people have new classes, and just the world automatically sort of like give you starting something new, and with that you can make sort of like a fresh starting point, even though like technically nothing restarts, but you can give that to yourself. And I feel like to the people in New York, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I think it's sort of the same thing. Maybe with my friends or like people around me where it's not like necessarily a physical start, but you're given a space to make a resolution, to reflect upon your year, because it's something that like everyone celebrates. It's like, it's not like religion or like country or like a background. Like, everyone is celebrating New Year's and New Year's Eve.
I see. Thank you so much. So it's more like a platform for people to reflect. Right? Yeah. Like you're giving the opportunity of New Year's Eve for people to just reflect on what's going to come from the upcoming year. Yeah.
Or maybe reflecting on the past year.
Yeah, the past year as well, and like just for you to really just express what you want to hear. Yeah, that's amazing. Like because like I think I know that America is like one of the countries that has a huge impact on like freedom of speech as well, right? Am I correct, Kashka? Like America is like a country where you're really able to give your opinion, express yourself. So I guess like according to this New Year's theme itself, like you're basically free to express.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great question.
And actually it's related to where she's now.
Yeah, where she's now.
It's like America.
It's America, yeah. So that's great. So anybody having any questions now? Not yet. Okay, so maybe Sabula, you can ask her the second question.
Okay, Kashka. So the second question is, how do you and the people of New York usually celebrate New Year's? Because it's very interesting for me personally, and I believe for most of the people who are watching, They really want to know what New Yorkers likes to do on New York.
I don't know what most people do. I think it's quite diverse. But the biggest thing I think in New York, and people come from all over the world to New York, is the ball drop in Times Square. And it's really, really big that they invite really, really famous people, and it's for free. It's not like a paid event. You just come to Times Square. It's gonna happen, and it's like live stream. I think like not live stream, or like it's even like on TV on like news channels. They do that. But then another thing as well that specifically like students in New York do is because New York is so close to like holiday break, like Christmas break and all that. A lot of people go home because a lot of students aren't from New York, and they spend it with their family. And so this year I get the chance to like spend it with my family as well and still be in New York, which a lot of students don't get a chance to do that. And so there are those two things.
Okay. So it's basically similar to what we have in Indonesia, but like during Ramadan month, maybe because like Christmas is more on like the Western holiday, like Ramadan would be related to like the more Muslim-oriented countries. But like basically the culture is the same because you go home to their family, like to their own hometowns to spend their holiday, with their family, their loved ones, with their loved ones. See. So I'm interested about that thing that you mentioned that a lot of students are from New York. So would you say that New York is like a city where it's like mostly oriented with students?
Yeah. A lot of people really wants to study in New York, right?
I think New York is so big. There's people who aren't students or people who are students, but it's also really big that, and it's so culturally like strong that it depends on the area. You can really like sort of feel what kind of people live there. I feel like it's not as strong in like other cities I've visited, but depending on the area you are in New York, you can really feel, oh, this is where people who work in the finance are, and this is where the students are, this is where a lot of like artists are, and maybe it's like less strong compared to like the past, like in the, I don't know, 80s or something, but within like the places I go to, or like since I'm a student and the place I like live in, there's a lot of students, and so I can really feel it being emptier during the break. And then the places where there's a lot of like tourist attraction, I can feel it be emptier during the school year. And so New York is always busy, but it's like there's so many different like areas, and some of them are filled with people from all over the world. Some of them are filled with people who are really from New York.
I see. Learning new things here. So it's like always busy, but then especially during the holiday, you feel like it's more empty. That's very interesting. And maybe related to that question as well about where different areas are specified to different like industry. Maybe like she said before, like some areas are finance, some areas are like Hollywood, and all that. But like, what is actually New York known for? I mean, like in terms of that industry, like other than the celebrities, but like especially the students. So does New York have like a specific like maybe brand or like a stamp to it? Or maybe Kashina can tell, because I think all I know is like Wall Street, or like the Liberty or Statue of Liberty, but
Broadway and Broadway.
So okay, maybe Kashina, you can explain it to us like more in detail, like what is actually more
rather than
guessing, like a
guessing.
Yeah, it's exactly what New York is known for.
I think it's known for so many things. I mean, everyone knows the Statue of Liberty, but then I feel like depending on what you are interested in, you know, like a specific part of New York, you're like, you really want to go and see. Like, I grew up, I really like museums, and so going to like the MoMA was like my dream. And even then, there's also like 12 other museums that are famous, and maybe you like food, and you know, the bagel is really famous, and like so many of like each part of New York is like the biggest deal of its like kind. And like if you're, I don't know, you're into parks, like Central Park is like such a cultural like name. And so like so many parts of New York are like the most iconic of that kind. The most iconic museums are in New York, the most iconic parks in New York, the most iconic coffee shops. Like so I think it's known for so many things, and it really depends on like what you're like drawn to. You can like find something in New York.
That's very interesting. So I guess that's related to the second question. Yeah. You want to ask her, Sylvia?
The second question.
Oh, wait, is the
Yeah, we already mentioned
the second question. So I guess the third one.
So I have this one questions about, you know, you mentioned about the clock ticking, you know, in the Times Square. I heard that if you want to celebrate New Year's, I mean, seeing it live, you have to queuing from like the morning before, or yeah, I'm not really sure. Can you tell me about that? Can you tell us about that?
I'm also not sure, because I also heard that, and I wouldn't want to try to go because on a day-to-day basis, Times Square is very, very crowded, so I can't imagine. I think my sister said like J-Hope from BTS is coming, and it's like for free, like to pay, like if you want to watch like BTS live, you need to pay so much money, but you can watch it for free, and you're in Times Square, so I can't imagine how many people would want to go. But I'd imagine people would queue for hours for it, because I've seen people queue for so many things. But then this is one of the bigger events, but I have seen, like, living in New York the past 2 years, I've like had opportunities, like free opportunities to like see like really interesting festivals and concerts, because like everyone comes to New York. And so this is maybe like the craziest like event of the year, but there's so many like free events of like watching people that you can't imagine like ever paying for watching, because it's just things happen in New York.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I think you have to really see it for yourself to imagine like the scale of like the crowdedness or something. Yeah, I think if like we just heard of it, like we can imagine.
Like, even we're watching it on maybe YouTube or televisions and stuff, you can directly see how crowded it is.
Yeah, how crowded it is. But I mean, yeah, that's like the hard thing about it. Yeah.
And like most of foreigners who actually intentionally going to New York to watch it directly in front of their eyes. So, but for the New Yorker,
it's like a normal thing.
Yeah, it's like a normal thing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but now that you mentioned it, it's true. Like it's like probably for us, like if we're seeing, I don't know, let's say like Mona's for like 1,000 times already, but like maybe for like the tourists, they think, oh, Mona's is such a like really cool, and everything. I guess you're right. It's like the perspective between like what local and tourist think.
Because as for Mona's, we see it every day. Yeah, almost every day. We're going to work and we pass by the Mona's. It's not interesting
anymore. Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah, that is a very cool thing.
But since Kashka is a foreigner, she's not from New York.
Yeah,
I thought she would be excited to spend her New Year's in the Times Square.
Yeah, but maybe because she has lived for 2 years anyway,
Yeah.
and she said she tends to avoid being crowded. Maybe. So like I think she's just trying to like keep herself safe.
Maybe the queue thing is not worth it.
It's not worth it. Maybe like yeah, it could be. But like, have you seen any of like your friends have queued there and like actually heard what they do there or something?
Actually, no. I don't know about this year. Maybe people will talk about it when school starts. But I mean, I've only been here like the other year, and the year before was COVID, and so last year I don't think people went. But I will see. Maybe like
Sure.
the guest will change their
Let,
mind.
let us know. Let us know if you do or like if you heard from your friends. Okay, so I think somebody is asking from the question box. The scholarship students that took part will randomly selected to the leader.
I think it's relating to our event. But we're going to talk about it later.
We're going to talk about our event later, so maybe we're going to pick the question that are more related towards the speaker. Yes, yeah.
Good luck, guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so maybe no question yet, no question yet for the speaker. I guess yeah. Should we continue the ball?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So our next question is because we mentioned COVID earlier. How has social activities changed after the COVID-19 pandemic? Like, what's different between like pre-pandemic and like post-pandemic?
I think a big thing in New York, which is, I think is social activity, is during the sort of like during the pandemic, but people start to like go back into real life. You're not allowed to eat indoor in restaurants, and so a lot of restaurants built like outdoor booths outside of the restaurant, which took up the parking space, and that became like, and that's not really social, but you can see it all over New York now. It's like indoor, and they like decorated based on the theme of their restaurant. But that didn't exist before the pandemic.
I see.
And maybe like kind of introducing you to more outdoor activities from the pandemic, because I remember when students started to come to specifically NYU, since that's what I know, you're not allowed to like meet each other in each other's room because you need to like social distance. So a lot of people make outdoor events. They, instead of like, you know, hanging out inside your room, you have picnics and you go to a park and do stuff. And so people are like, they have more ideas on how to like host and like spend time with your friends outdoor and have outdoor activities.
Can you tell us like the example of the outdoor activities, for example, and have you ever joined one of them?
Yeah, like in the first semester of my school year, since it was still really rough, the pandemic, me and my friends, we host a lot of picnics outside. We go as far, like Central Park is quite far from us, but we just go there because we just want a new place, or we go to a park nearer to us and we like get blankets, we order food, and sometimes we cook since we can't go to each other's room and spend a lot of time. And so that was like the biggest I think outdoor activity, and it's like so much fun because you can decorate it as you want.
Like picnics.
Since there are a lot of parks in New York. There are a lot of parks. It's like perks of having having a lot of parks. You can join and doing an outdoor activities.
Yeah, that's cool. So, but like because New Year's is like winter, right? But like, isn't it cold? Like, so the people still choose to go to the park because, like, I think parks are like more related to summer, spring kind of weather, right? But like during winters, they still go to the parks then.
I think people choose, like, people would prefer staying inside, but then I did visit Central Park recently and it was very crowded. There's a lot of people still, like, going around. Maybe they wouldn't sit down and do a picnic, but they still walk around and people still, because New York is so walkable and there's so many things to do outside, even though it's cold, people still choose to go outside and see around. So maybe the weather doesn't really stop them from going outside because the parks are still crowded.
That's nice.
That's so
It's like
nice.
the outdoor activities and going to the park is like part of their routine. So they don't mind even if it's cold, if it's winter or fall or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's part of their routine and culture.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're doing it like out of just like their pure choice of what you
Yeah.
pure choice. Yeah. So, any other questions from
And
the audience?
you know what? I've seen that you can actually ice skate and
Ice skate.
yeah. Where's the exact place where you can
Do the ice skate.
Yeah, do the ice skate in New York.
The most iconic place you can do ice skating is in Rockefeller Center, which is near the area where they film like TV shows like Jimmy Fallon and Saturday Night Live. It's like right near there, and I think it's also the area where they also shoot a lot of Home Alone too. But it's very like pretty and like beautiful. There's like a statue around it. I've never been ice skating in New York, but that's where you do it. But they also have several other places. They have one in Central Park, which is so much bigger than the one in Rockefeller, but because it's like in the middle of the park. But what's interesting is I found out recently that a lot of the ice skating places, because there are several, some of them they turn it into roller skating places during the summer. And I just learned that recently because I really like roller skating. And I was like, isn't this the place they had the ice skating rink? But they just like take it out and turn it into roller skating places. So there's activity like all year round.
Yeah.
Very initiative.
Very creative.
Yeah,
like very creative. Literally.
Like they can still skate.
They can still skate.
No
but
matter
the weather.
yeah, the weather, this season.
The season. So,
Cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
That's very nice.
And as we said before on our last session
yeah.
about Christmas romantic comedy.
Christmas,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Rockefeller.
Yeah,
The
it's
skate.
like it's a skate.
No
But
matter. This very cute scenes.
Yeah.
Taken there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we're so much of like a fan of like rom-coms.
Yeah, Christmas romantic comedies. Like yeah, the Rockefeller, New York,
Yeah,
skate. And I no matter around that tree area. This very cute scenes.
Yeah.
Taken there. Christmas,
Yeah, I
New
think
Year,
so. Yeah,
New York.
much of like a fan of like rom-coms.
Yeah, Christmas romantic comedies. Like yeah, the Rockefeller, New York, skate. And I no matter that's around that tree area. This very cute scenes. Taken there. Christmas, New Year, New York.
Much of like a fan of like. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you guys. I think they're more just commenting and giving like some compliments and not questions. Okay.
It's okay. We do have our own questions.
Yeah.
To ask Kaska.
So maybe we should move on to the next question.
Yep.
Okay.
As for the fifth question.
Yeah.
Fifth questions. Was there any time when you couldn't celebrate New Year's at all? Maybe in pandemic situations?
I mean, I only did it last year, and I didn't really celebrate because last year was my first year in New York. Because, I mean, I guess I could still do it, but the COVID became really bad, and a lot of my friends wasn't in the city because they went home to be with their family for the holiday. So I think last year all I did was I bought cake for me and my roommate, who I had like 3 roommates because it was like a college dorm, but only one of them stayed over for New Year's break because the rest went home to their family. So we got cake, and after that, and then we celebrated New Year's, and after that, I just watched a movie. So that's not really like I could still celebrate it, but there isn't much to do for me. I didn't want to go to Times Square and queue, and so I just kept it simple, and so maybe that's like the other time I couldn't celebrate.
I see. I see. Wow. Okay, so like, of course, during the pandemic, but even if she did get to celebrate, it's not like a full, complete celebration because most of them go home to their families, like back again to the culture where like people go home to their families and be with their loved ones. So it's not always like a like a super hype celebration parties everywhere anyway. So people do still have the tendency to go back to their families. So it's not always like partying, and it's not always like
So like it's New Year, Christmas, and like people are like going back home together with their family. So it's like the like the exact moment where you can be together with them. And it's on holidays. So so why bother going to, like you said before, going to that Times Square where you can spend it with your family. So
that's interesting. So, but how long do the holiday usually last? Like, is it like a few weeks, or like can you like choose like the dates between you, like take like some, I don't know what you call it, like the break itself? Like, is it like decided by the government, or I don't know? Maybe you can explain it to us, because like sometimes the government explains to us like for example here in Indonesia, like the government says like okay, date of the, like let's say the Idul Fitri Ramadan holidays from this date to this date, right? But like does that happen
or is it decided by months or
something like that?
I think like I don't know about people working, but for me, and I think most school would end right before Christmas, so end of December, and most of the holiday is in January. So because school also starts like in September, so it goes like later, and so the dates of like you will get a holiday maybe on the 24th, right before Christmas, and going into the New Year's, and maybe if you work, you come back to work earlier, but compared to like my sister who's still in high school in Jakarta, most of her holiday is in December, while most of my holiday is in January. So it like ends later and like starts later.
I see. So like, because usually in Indonesia it starts like, for example, in the middle of December and it ends like in the earlier of January, but in like US, like what she says, it starts end of December but like lasts until like late January. So like it's just a bit like scooted over like a couple of weeks, I guess, than the one here in India. That's an interesting fact. Very big. Okay, so it's most of the New Yorkers, Americans, have the holidays in January while we have it in December. So yeah, that's very interesting. That's interesting fact. Any questions from the audience? Like some people have been like just complimenting us, but like they haven't been asking any questions.
maybe they're not joining us from the start. That's why they're
Maybe they're confused. Like
confused. So we're having Kashka here. She is a student in New York University, and she's from Indonesia, actually, and New York.
So if you have any questions for Kashka, can type it on the comment section.
we
should go back to the topic again while waiting for the audience. Okay. So next question. Oh, this is interesting. Are there any traditions in New York where students usually do during New Year's?
I don't think there is tradition, and I don't think there's a lot of tradition with students. I think if you were to celebrate, since right now I'm celebrating it with my family, and last year I just celebrated with my roommate, I think you kind of just make your own, like with your friends, and like sort of like decide what you want to do. Because I think also with like other holidays, since you just if you're a student, you mostly just meet your friends, just like I don't know, 2 years ago, and what you usually do is you like decide what you want to do, kind of make your own tradition since you just meet each other and you learn what each other likes. Like for example, and I'm guessing what people who celebrate New Year's with their friends, during Thanksgiving, like it's for an American celebration, right? And so Americans with their family, they have their tradition. But me and my friends who are not American, we just sort of decide what we want to do. We cook like turkey, but we also like cook like Asian food together. So we like sort of make our, because we just you know, we're like young and we just met each other, so no tradition, but you can sort of shape what you want, like take the holiday to your own liking. And I'm guessing it's the same with people who celebrate New Year's with their friends.
Wow, that is actually it is really nice. Like you just kind of customize the holiday.
You make your own.
You make your own tradition. Oh my god, that is very interesting. So what you usually do then with your friends is like mix between like the what Americans do, which is half turkey, but then also half Asian food.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Right? Okay, that's very interesting. So
That will actually, because I'm sure that Kashka probably missing her home and the foods, Asian food,
especially like
Asian food. Obviously, things Asian food are best. Like
rice.
rice. So she made it herself. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I mean that's really cool how you just kind of use the moment to like get to know each other. In like one community. Like being like from like the similar backgrounds. You know, like you're Asian as well. So,
and since she's also like foreigner, and her friends also foreigners, so like maybe it feels like a family. It feels kind of like a family. Close to family. Both are from Asia.
Asia.
Maybe. So there's like a strong connection. Hashtag Asian.
Oh my god, yes, the hashtag girl. Like you're such a hashtag girl. Okay, girl. So but that reminds me. But like do the Indonesian embassy have traditions? Because like I know that several like what do you call it? Like the association of students. Like for example, Association of Indonesian Students, PPI.
First Satuan Pelajar
Indonesia, for example, like the student association.
Are you part of them?
Are you part of them? And like, do you usually celebrate what like the Indonesian embassy like?
The embassy usually, invites the students to spend their holiday in the embassy, and it's Indonesian food, and there's like a tradition, cultural thing also shows there.
Yeah. So have you ever joined that kind of thing?
I joined it my last year for like several months, and it was very fun. But I haven't really joined their themed like holiday events like New Year's or anything like that. But I've joined their other events, and it's always really fun because they have like really good food, and just like you get to like meet other people, and so and a lot of them, they're like student run. So a lot of the events are like, student organizing the food and the event, and so that is also really fun because I get to like meet my friends who are part of the student association that year, and they like organize the events, and yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. So, like, even some of that is run by students. So, like, the government is like giving, like, the full, what do you call it? Facility for students to create like certain events. So that's very interesting.
And the students are
Very active as well, yeah, organizing these kind of events. So, any questions from the audience? It seems like our audience are very like quiet, or are they like really listening to the conversation maybe? So they're confused, like what kind of
maybe they're interested in the questions we have been listed.
Listening, yeah. So like they're being very attentive and very like listening. So yeah,
well, maybe we should go to the next question.
Yeah, sure.
So, what is the best thing to do, or the best place to go to celebrate New Year's? Do you have any recommendations?
I wouldn't know. Maybe Times Square, but because that's where all the crowd is.
Yeah.
But I think the best place to like the best thing to do in New York, especially for people who like have lived here for several months, is just to like go back to like the places you want to go, or like the places, your favorite places. So having dinner in your favorite restaurant, and then going to like your favorite park, or like your favorite theater, or like your favorite landmark, and celebrating there maybe with other people, because I think the only like big thing is the Times Square like ball drop, but any other thing is sort of like they're just still like the same places you usually go to every day, but maybe more special because it's New Year's. But yeah.
But like, do you have any recommendations? Maybe like one of your favorite spots, maybe that you can maybe share.
Maybe for foreigners, but like not really popular, but like
hidden gems. Yeah, maybe like some kind of hidden gems. Like, do you have any recommendations?
The place where you think everybody that comes to New York, especially foreigners, should visit. But they very underrated.
Underrated maybe.
To visit, just to walk around, I'd say maybe like Soho is very like famous, but then if you go a little bit farther in Alita, they have, which is like near Soho, it's like it's in between Soho and Chinatown. They have like smaller shops and like cute streets, and I think it's one of my favorite places to walk around in New York because they have like coffee shops and like really cute grocery stores, and more of like younger people brand, and like not like fancy brands like in Soho. And so that's like my favorite street, and not only like the shops but also like the street itself is really cute. And I think just walking for a long time everywhere is like a big part of New York. Like I could walk like for an hour, and like it'll still be like pretty and nice, and that's my favorite place to walk.
So it's more like a peaceful mood. Like many people are known for like, and she says like there's no luxury brands, so it's like we can taste like the localness of the area, like the actual,
and like the highlights is to walk more. Because like since you guys are in New York, you have to sightseeing while walking, seeing New Yorker walking. And then I heard that when they walk, they're unlike any other people that walking, in a small pace. They're like walking really
always
fast.
in a hustle.
Yeah, always in a hustle. You know, like in the movies, they're bringing coffee and stuff, and then they
like,
spill the coffee
spill the
everywhere.
coffee everywhere. Yeah. Does that ever happen? Like, do you ever see an actual person bringing coffee and then spilling it all over the, I don't know, the ground?
I don't think so. I think when people drink coffee, they're like calmly like bringing it around. But I like, you know, another big thing about New York is like the subway. You take the subway everywhere. You can like not take cars if you want to. And so people are always like rushing to the subway if they like miss it. So there's always like running into the station. And so that's like people, you know, you can be late to the subway and you will be late to where you're going.
Okay, so nice. So you do recommend like going everywhere with the subway. Do you think like it's a like an easy transportation to use, like, or is it complicated? Do you have like a special, I don't know, maybe like an app or like a like map things to make it easier for, let's say, foreigners?
Like some countries, public transportations is really confusing. Yeah. There's a lot of lines and stuff. Yeah. And, you know, it's not foreign friendly because they're using you know, languages that that is not understandable
for foreigners. Like,
how about you?
Yeah, do you recommend like some kind of way to make it? Yeah.
I think there's a lot of lines and there's a lot of stops and it's complicated and it's like a lot of the names of like where you need to go down is pretty like specific, but then I use like Google Maps to like navigate because they tell you directly where you need to go in and where you need to stop. And some people use other apps, but the thing about it is not that like the train is necessarily easier. Like I don't think like compared to like Jakarta even, like the subway is pretty like outdated. Like the turnstile is still like the old like turning one. Like it's not like automatic. It's pretty like outdated. But New York is such especially in Manhattan, which is like the main island, is such an organized city that you can sort of learn where things are very quickly. You go, you know, there's like uptown, downtown, and the areas are very clear. This is Soho, this is Wall Street, this is Times Square area. And so because New York is very like it's pretty easy to understand the area and there's very clear lines of where things are. Once you like learn it for a bit, the first time I visited New York, which was when I was in high school and I didn't live here yet, I like could learn to understand it, maybe because I also really like New York, so I spent time like looking at the maps longer. But it's such an easy city to like understand, and so the train is easier to understand.
Okay. So good. So that means like for foreigners who want to go, it will be kind of easy.
It's easy to understand. And since the, you know, like the places like as Kashka stated before, the Manhattan, the upper, and then
very organized.
Yeah, very organized and understandable. So don't hesitate to for you foreigners to come to New York because it's very easy to understand the city.
Nice one. So no more question. I don't think like our audience are like very eager to ask questions. Guys, if you want to ask Kashka, our guest speaker here, who is a student in New York University, you guys can ask her directly now. Like this is the time because like this is the only time where like she can, you know, give you guys some answers.
Maybe if you guys ever want to study in New York, you can also ask Kashka how did she apply for the NYU
for the university, I guess. Yeah.
How are you doing, guys? We're doing live basically with Kashka.
No questions. Okay. All right. Since nobody's asking, so we should go back to the topic again.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, all right.
Do you
Oh,
have,
okay.
okay. Do you have any
Budget-friendly tips
to
to celebrate
New
New
Year's?
Year's.
How
How
can
can
students
students
afford
afford
the celebration
celebrations
in
in
New
New
York?
York?
So like, the USD is quite high,
Quite high right
yeah,
now
compared to other currency, other country currency. So like, do you have an activities other than walking? Just walking has zero
Yeah,
US
$0
dollar.
for
Yeah,
walking.
$0. But like an activity that you should do, which it's budget friendly and students friendly.
Student friendly.
Yeah, and the student maybe can still experience how it feels to be in New York, but it's cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any like tips?
I think you can find free events. I didn't do much research other than the Times Square event, but I'm sure there are a lot of free events to go to in New Year's. And another thing is to go to like open like landmarks. So because that mostly is free, like they're like sort of pretty areas, and just sort of stay there, maybe with your friends. Like in Hudson Yards, I know it's like a very pretty area, and it's free to go there. So I think just going to places is like free, and it's gonna be iconic anyways. So you don't need to like go into a place and pay for a ticket or pay for events. Yeah. Or like, and then a lot of 24-hour restaurants are actually cheaper, like like 24-hour pizza places or fast food, and then like delis. And so those places you can spend time really late before the New Year's, and then go somewhere else New Year's for free. And so like automatically it's so much more cheaper. So maybe like cheap foods and like a landmark.
Wow, but they actually do have like a special student discount too, right? Like, like if you show like your student ID, maybe like that happens in US as well, right?
Yeah, I think it should happen more, because I know some places that give you student discount, but it's not like everywhere. But a lot of really good places also have student discount. And
Is the student discount only for those who are studying in America,
or like any other international student are allowed to have it?
because like the waiters probably doesn't understand what's written there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most of the time you can show any ID for a student discount. Oh, I think for museums and some movie theaters, you can show any ID from like any place in the world and get a discount. So going to because they know, you need to go to museums and you need to like watch a movie when you're a student. So they give you student discount regardless of where you go to school.
Like, but how much exactly is like the student discount? Do you know, or is it like different for every transaction, for example, or do they have like a specific cut, like for example, half price or something like that?
It depends on the store, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for like activities like go museums or movie theaters or like more things you visit, I think you get a bigger discount, where the adult ticket is expensive but the student ticket is cheap. But a lot of food places, they just give you like 10% off. I think it's just like to help out students, but it's not like, it's not like supported by like anything. So it's just like a bit of discount. So it depends on like the thing you are buying.
Okay. Nice. Oh, somebody actually is asking, there is any bully or not in the US? There is any bully? Have you ever experienced like bullying, or maybe if bullying is like a common thing in the US?
Um, I think it's like, I don't know. I think like people in college are just like any other people in college everywhere. It's you know, teenagers. Like it's just fine. And you have your own friends. But I think this is not bullying, but I guess the biggest difference between like going to school in like back in where I came from in Jakarta and here is that like people have very different backgrounds from you and they sometimes don't understand where you're coming from. While when you were back home, people understand it directly. And so I think maybe this is not bullying, but they when you say things they don't necessarily understand you directly and they would like misunderstand you with your like cultural difference. That could be like, so the cultural difference could be like a good thing and a bad thing. But the good thing is like, no one's from the same background, they have a different opinion on something. But the bad thing could be like, you say something and like you need to take an extra step to like explain it. Well, it's like this and that, and they don't directly understand it.
So it's just a matter of like understanding and tolerance between each other.
Yeah, but it's maybe as I said before, it's like it's because of cultural differences. So it's like misunderstanding basically.
Yeah. Okay. And there's another question from:
Do you feel safe when you walk alone at
night
in New York City?
Yeah. Do you feel safe when you walk alone at night?
Maybe before midnight I feel safe because there's a lot of, or even in midnight, I've walked alone going home from somewhere, I don't know, watching a movie or like from my friend's place. Because there's so many people on the street often, especially if it's the weekends. But then sometimes there are unsafe streets, and when when it's like late and there are unsafe streets or it's like a far walk, you would take like a taxi or something home because you just want to watch out for like any danger. So it's probably best to walk with a friend. But when it's like more crowded or like it's in more crowded area, because there are other people sort of watching you and like other people also walking alone at night trying to get home, that feels more safe because you're surrounded by other people.
But like, are there any like specific streets or area that you will avoid? Like maybe you can tell us like the list of streets or something, or like the area that,
Or maybe
kind of
surrounding. What kind of surrounding would you avoid if you're walking at night?
Yeah. Like some tips.
I think there are some areas where less people live in it. And I think like in the edge of the city. But I never really walk there at night. But then it's sort of like people, once you move to New York and you talk to people, you sort of have an understanding where it's like in the edge of this area, past this street, you shouldn't walk around there at night, for example. And so, yeah, it's like, but I don't know the detail. I think it's like certain streets, but it's usually on the edge where people live there less.
Noted. So if you ever go to New York, then maybe you should avoid those areas.
Yeah.
And don't, even if you do walk there, don't walk there at night. Like if it's like during the day, like try to walk with a friend, right? And like you feel safe when there's like another people trying to go home as well. So
Because like it's not only New York, like wherever you
wherever
are,
you are, be careful.
while walking,
Yeah.
especially at night. Because like it's dark and you probably cannot see other people moving. I mean like other people like the people who's bad at people, like
Yeah.
criminal or something.
Yeah. So like just be extra careful at night,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So,
And we have next question from the audience. What is the highest cost of living there? Food
and
and
medical.
food.
Yeah.
Food, medical, yeah.
He's asking what is the highest cost of living cost?
Is it food or is it medical or what else? Something.
I think the rent is expensive. Since everyone wants to live in New York, and so I talk to my friends from other cities, and it's much friendlier. And that's probably the highest cost of living. But then for food, if it really depends on you. It's like it's obviously cheaper in Jakarta, but there are cheaper options in New York as well. But then there are also very expensive options because it's so diverse. Things like food. There's always an audience for everything. So very, very expensive. I don't know, like fancy restaurant exists because there are those people in New York. But there's also like $1 pizza or like even like very cheap like big meals in the deli and like halal carts, like food carts in the street. And so the food is very, very diverse, and it quite depends on you how you want to spend it.
So other than cooking yourself, which restaurant you would usually visit when you miss Asian food?
Asian food, yeah. Maybe some Asian food like restaurants recommendations.
Yeah, restaurant.
I think the food I miss the most from Indonesia is always like sate ayam, and they don't have as much Indonesian restaurants here, but there is a restaurant called Rasa near NYU, and it's like a mix of Indonesian and Malaysian, and I think like Thai food, but I think their sate ayam is like really good, or it's just the easiest place I can get it from. Yeah, but there's also this Malaysian cafe. I think they have it everywhere, but then it's like a different style in New York. It's like kopitiam, but like in New York they have like they sort of give a twist on like the typical, I guess it's Southeast Asian because it's Malaysian Southeast Asian food, where they have like meal like toast, but it's like French toast, and so it's like a mix of like what like I guess New Yorkers would eat like French toast, but it's like Milo toast, and so I really like this kind of food where it's like a mix between like two cultures, and it's like really fun.
It makes me want to try it now.
Yeah,
like, I want to go to that restaurant and actually buy that French toast. Oh my god, yeah.
But actually, you can find it almost everywhere.
Almost everywhere. I know, like
Tukang
roti bakar.
There are actually a lot of food. Yeah.
Roti bakar is fried.
Let me make it clear. You basically just want to go to New York.
Yeah, we just basically want to go to New York then. Okay, well, I'll take that as a reason. That's a good enough reason. Okay, so somebody's asking another question. This is a good question.
Is there any part-time job for students?
It's
Is part-time job is enough for living there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually a very good question.
Um, Something about U.S. university that I speak to my friends from like other countries who are like international student is that they don't allow you to work
Oh.
off campus. So
Mm.
throughout the school year, and so you need to work on campus. So you work for whatever, like I guess for bigger universities, you have a lot more opportunities, and um, so you work on campus. So you work as my friend works at like as like designer or like social media manager for the campus, but there's also
Oh.
more like jobs where it's like or like helping an administrative office or like just even like helping teaching or even helping like fix like something there's so many like jobs and whether or not it's enough for a living for like your day-to-day life like food and shopping, I think your part-time job could like help you fund that because most colleges they pay you living wage or like above living wage in New York City because they want to be generous with their students. And so from what I've heard from my friends is that it's enough, maybe not for rent because the rent is very high. But you're paid like New York City wage even though you're a student worker on campus, and there's also like such diverse sort of job, and so it really depends on like your passion and backgrounds too. Even though you can only work on campus, you're not like limited.
Very nice.
It's actually more beneficial,
Yeah,
rather than like maybe working part-time at the restaurant where you can applicate your the knowledge that you obtain from university.
University. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess that's true.
You're actually doing something not
Meaningful,
only
yeah.
not only got you paid,
Got you
but
paid, but
also like
got you with the experience needed. and the
shaping your skills.
shaping your skills. That's right. Yeah, that's great. Amazing. So I guess no more questions for now. So we should go to the next
We
topic.
still
Right?
have questions.
Two last questions.
For
For
Pushpa.
yeah. Okay. So this next question
This is such a interesting question.
interesting question. Yeah. What are you most looking forward to next year? So like 2023.
Yeah, it's relating to
Our theme about
our theme about New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
So what is the thing that you must look forward and most excited about in 2023?
I think what I'm most excited for is starting a new set of classes, but that's like something I do like every semester. I watch a lot of movies, and a lot of good movies are coming out next year. And why also I'm excited about it is because for some reason New York has a lot of like events for the movies, so you can go to like the Q&A and meet the director but it only happens when the movie is released, and so I could like see like the New York like premiere of the movie and get excited about that. And I think that's my two biggest things. There's also concerts happening next year, so I think what I'm excited for is just like things coming out and like newer things. But yeah, I think 2023 has a lot of like exciting things I can like do and watch.
Nice. But have you ever like encountered an actual like celebrity?
Yeah. When I heard that people, when people are going to New York, then there's like a big change that they're gonna meet Hollywood artists, maybe doing premiere or something, or just walking around the streets. I saw a lot of like TikTok contents that they actually interviewing, yeah, like Adam Sandler. Yeah, he's just wearing a hoodie, walking. Yeah, walking past the streets. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god, how did they do that?
Yeah, how did they do
How
that?
did they do that?
I think I like recognize people more easily than other people. So I've like recognized actors from like TV shows I watch, and then I'm like, hey, like, isn't that girl from that TV show? And my friend's like, I don't know who you're talking about. So I think like if I say it, it's not that exciting. Like I haven't met my friend like ran into Gigi Hadid, but I'm not that lucky. But I think I just like run into like I see very like small artists and I just like, oh my god, I know who that is.
Wow. It was like that's very exciting for us.
Still, that's very exciting for us.
Yeah, since we actually met zero international but like I mean if we bumped into them in the street, it's like the change is like zero
out of
zero. But like yeah, it's different when you actually went to her fashion show maybe or
of course,
a musician concert. It's like you're walking down the street and you met your favorite
idol or something. Yeah, that's
can relate.
I know, right? But like, would you say that your area, I mean, like, as in NYU, maybe, like New York University itself is like far away or close to
from the
the
heart of the city,
where the celebrities usually are, for example?
I think it's the best part of the city. I think it's like a lot of celebrities go around the area and or like near the area is where a lot of celebrities live. Like not far from NYU, it's like Cornelia Street, which is like Taylor Swift's like place. So a lot of celebrities live in that area, and I think like the like Hadid sisters, they also live near the NYU area. Even if you like look at like paparazzi pictures of like people going on like celebrities going on dates, there's sometimes it's like I can spot it and it's like, oh my god, that's like near NYU. And I think it's very near to the center of the city where a lot of celebrity would hang out, and that's why I've seen several, but yeah.
Okay, cool. See, even somebody from the audience is asking, have you ever faced a Korean like celebrity in New York, right? Somebody's asking.
Oh, it's Karen. Karen. Have you ever faced a Karen?
Okay. Wait, what? Is it Korean or Karen? Oh,
Karen.
I misread that. Sorry.
Karen. Is there any Karen? Yeah, of course they are. What it's like? Have you ever facing them by person? In person.
I don't know if it's like with me. I don't think I've ever like been Karen because it's like a very specific encounter, you know. And I'm assuming it happens a lot more in areas where there are older people living there, or like more like smaller towns, that sort of thing. And New York was pretty like diverse, that people kind of just like mind their own business. And so I haven't personally faced one, but I know they probably exist, and they probably do it to like maybe like restaurant servers or something in New York.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, makes sense. I mean, it happens everywhere. I guess so. Anyway,
to all cute sisters. Cute sisters. Well, okay, you're cute too. Okay. Anyway, so okay, I guess no more questions left for now. Maybe you should go to the last question now. This is our last question.
But Don't worry,
Don't
I
worry.
have another question.
Yeah, later we can like ask her like just in a
Yeah.
Okay, so for this question, do you have any 2023 New Year resolution? And are there any resolution from 2022 that you haven't fulfilled yet?
I think my resolution for 2023 is I want to like create more things. And
Artist there.
like within art, but also with design, since it's like my passion and like what I want to do. So like in the past school year, I think I've like been just like kind of doing schoolwork because I'm just like still learning, so I do like homework and all that, but I hope to create like something on top of that I can like really work for. So that's like another goal of mine. And I think I want to see my favorite artists in concert because I feel like there are so many concerts in New York that every time there's one, I'm just like, oh, like I won't watch that. But in 2022, I think I will go. Like I will actually go.
Go.
Who's your favorite artist?
Your favorite artist?
I just bought concert tickets for Paramore and SZA.
Oh,
Paramore!
Oh my god! Like, so you're a fellow Paramore fan, like Sabila? Yeah, she's literally talking about. We were talking about Paramore, but then Sabila choose to buy Arctic Monkeys ticket, But but Arctic Monkeys are cool as well. I mean, yeah. But Paramore is like
yeah.
Nice. Is anybody here in the audience also a Paramore fan?
Yeah. How about halal food?
Okay, so there's a question from Denton. Are there any halal food? Halal food.
Okay. Is it hard to find a halal food in New York?
There are like halal food courts, which is basically just like chicken over rice. Like halal guys. But not only that, but they have like a diverse range of food in halal carts, so that's like everywhere. But even on top of that, in restaurants, even if the restaurant like is not like a halal restaurant, there's always option for it. And the options are always diverse because I think New York have a lot of diverse people, so they have like there's regular food, but there are also like options that are halal or vegetarian options or like pescatarian option, and so you will always have an option for it because New York people have like diverse food like diets, and so there's so much food everywhere, so I think it's always easy to find food like out of all the things you can do in New York.
I hope that answers your question. Do you think that, John? Yeah, Denton is like really enthusiastic. Anybody else wants to ask questions? Maybe. Oh, about the 2022 resolution that wasn't fulfilled? I think she hasn't answered that question, right? Yeah. Are there any 2022 resolutions that you didn't accomplish?
This year, maybe you can.
I think it probably is the same one as like I want to make more things. I think I fulfilled some of it. I want to do more design work because I think like just taking what I've learned in college and just doing like my own thing instead of just taking off assignments and just like taking. Also, maybe I should read more books.
That is actually a good resolution.
I wanted to do that last year, and maybe I've read like 4.
Yeah, that's awesome, amazing. So like, yeah, I mean, like I mean, it's true. Like we have the tendency to, just learn a few things, but never put it into practice, right? So like, that's why we have to really, practice it in our own time and try to develop it on our own after we have
Make a time to actually practicing what you've been
what
taught.
you've been taught, yeah, into your actual real life, like work. Yeah, it's the best way to, what do you call it, like, yeah, apply the knowledge that you got. Yeah, that's smart.
So there's someone who's
Asking
asking,
what's the topic.
what's the
I think she just
topic?
joined,
Yeah.
so she didn't listen to the whole topic.
Okay.
But it's okay. Like we're talking about New York,
New Year's in New
New
York.
Year's in New York.
New Year's in New York, and how it feels like to be a student
in
in New York University.
Yeah.
So, Kashka, you're studying in New York University. How did you apply for it?
I applied.
Are you is you taking a high school in Indonesia or what?
I applied for it online through the Common application, and I did IB in Indonesia, and I sent my grades, and I got help from my school, like teacher and counselor. But I did it online, and I sent my grades, and I took the SAT. But I think it's like less. I don't know about people. I heard it's like less important ever after the pandemic to take the SAT. And yeah, and I wrote essays for it for the schools.
So I think IB makes it easier for you to apply university abroad.
Yeah.
But for those of you who didn't actually taking IB curriculum, don't worry, we got you covered.
Yeah, because we got you covered.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
This is where we're gonna talk about our program.
program.
The programs that I've been mentioned before. It's International Youth Fest. Which will be held on February, and we're going to give you a brief detail about the event.
Yes.
So,
yes. So Sabila is going to explain now about the program. So if you guys are interested to, apply for universities and become a study abroad student like Ashka, we got you covered.
Maybe you want to go to New York University too, like Ashka. Don't worry, because in this event, in International Youth Fest, our program covers scholarship and study abroad information in the USA.
Yes.
Not only USA.
We also have other countries.
Other 11 countries, such as Canada, and then Spain, the UK, Netherlands, France, also
Australia,
New Zealand,
and
also Japan, China, and
South Korea. Yeah. So if you guys are interested to be a study abroad student like Kashka, you guys should definitely join our event because we covered so many information, right?
And who knows, because we have a grand prize.
Prize.
If you're lucky, if you attend the event and you actually shows up at the webinar and pay attention to the webinar, you can get a grand prize
of free
share
trip to the USA.
Yeah,
and South Korea as well.
Right?
Yeah. So
maybe you can meet Ashka there.
Yeah.
You can strolling around New York, going to Central Park, and then the Rockefeller. To play ice skating or roller skating, whatever you want to do.
you can do it. So feel free to join this because there will be 25 lucky winners.
Yep.
There will be 25 lucky winners, and 3 of those winners will be
going to
USA.
and then the other 22 is going to South Korea.
That's
So
amazing, right?
yeah, you're basically free to choose whether you want to go to South Korea or the USA.
So that's amazing, right, guys? Like, feel free to join our event because the registration is still open, right?
Yep.
And it's going to be held from February 13th to 17th. February 13th to 19th, sorry, from 13th to 19th. And if you manage to pay attention, and then there will be that quiz,
You're
right? Taking the quiz,
and if you're correct, if
all of your answers are correct,
you will get the opportunity to
win the grand prize. Yes.
And other than the grand prize, you will also have this other benefits, which is 12 webinars of studying abroad scholarship in 12 countries, as I mentioned before, the countries listed, and then 5 days scholarship mentorship, which will be you will get a mentoring from the expert. Yeah, from those students who are already studying and get scholarship, and then also those experts who understand the regulations to get a scholarship. So don't you hesitate to join And if you have any questions, feel free to just ask in the comments. Or if this live has ended, you can ask us on Instagram and direct message. Yeah. Also, another thing you will get from this event is 2023 scholarship program. You will get an ebook contains all the information you need to know about how to obtain a scholarship. And then also international closing ceremony with world figure speakers and cultural performances. So for those of you who like cultural things and wanting to learn more about the culture from other countries, you definitely should join this event.
And how do they register?
Yeah, and also the last thing, the benefits.
Oh yeah, we
is
forgot
not
to,
over.
We forgot to mention benefits. Yeah.
Also, international event certificate. So you can get a certificate of joining an international event. Also, the most important thing is networking with people around the world.
Yes, that would be so cool, right? Yep. And if you guys are interested to register, just go to our website, which is internationalglobalnetwork.com/IYF.
All in the small caps.
Yes, there you go.
And Sheila, how much do you think the event would cost?
Oh my God, Sabila, you're not ready for this because, guys, it's super cheap. It's only $11.
$11? I thought it's like $100.
No, Sabila, it's only $11 for 11 days.
11 days, and you get all those benefits, and you can get a change to go to the US.
Yes, exactly. So, like, just think about it, like $11 for 11 days.
Wow.
So, if you calculate like 11 divided by 11, so technically 1 day is only
$1.
$1 for
so,
1 day.
Kashka, what can you get in New York for $1?
Can you tell us if there's something that costs $1 only?
Sorry.
Like, do you know something that we can buy for $1 only in New York, for example?
You can buy a slice of pizza.
A slice of pizza. See, guys, so it's just only like the cost of a slice of pizza, right? But you can get all this benefits.
Yeah, $1. You buy a pizza. You eat the pizza. The pizza is gone. Yeah, but this one, you get a lifetime knowledge, and maybe a better future.
Yeah, it's an investment.
It's an investment. You get a new friends from around the world. Who knows? Maybe they could be your tour guide for your next trip to their country. So it's very exciting.
Exactly. And most importantly, you guys will get all of these, amazing opportunities to meet like speakers as well, right? Because like we have 30 speakers, right? So
30 speakers
and also 36 mentors.
36 mentors and 15K,
15,000
more
attendees.
more than 50,000 attendees. Also, 500K, 500K, more than 500K worth of scholarship infos.
Yes,
Wow.
it's so amazing.
$11. Imagine, can you imagine $11 only?
Yeah. Like if you eat 11 slices of pizza, it will be gone. But like
Yeah.
this one, it's $11 for 11 days,
And you're
lifetime investment.
maybe
Right?
you're too full to eat like 11 pizza all at once, but this you'll never get enough of the knowledge you get from this event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing thing, right?
As you said before, Sheila, it's an investment.
It's an investment.
Yeah, for a better future.
Yes.
So there's
Probably this is another question from Denton.
is that easy to find a scholarship there
Yeah.
in there?
USA, I think. Yeah. So what do you think, Kashka? Is it easy to get a scholarship in the US?
Maybe if you look for it before you apply or before you come here, that could be a possibility. And if you get into a good school, they really want you. They're required to help you, and so it apply and see.
Okay. Nice, but there is a chance, right?
Yeah,
So
there's always ways to obtain a scholarship. And how do you know about how to get a scholarship? Join our event. Because we will give you a lot of information you need to know. Even those who you think you didn't, you will not get from the internet. Yeah. Here you will get all the information you need to obtain a scholarship and tips to studying abroad.
Yes. So, guys, since we are about to end our live section soon, there's only like 10 minutes left. Yep. So, if you have any questions that you want to ask to Kashka, now is the time because she is not going to be here for long now, right? So this is your opportunity to ask her some questions now, either as a New York student or like anything in general that New York region that you want to ask, or maybe just to get a better detail about what the life there is like. Just feel free to ask us now because after this we're gonna have our closings for the night, right? So if you have any questions,
feel free to type it on the comment section.
Yes. Somebody's commenting. This is great. Answer it.
It's cheap but not affordable in all time. Of course it's not. Well, you can save your money, and then you can register later. Yeah. But don't worry, because there's always ways to, as Sheila said before, you're paying money for something that is beneficial for you, and you basically like paying for investment because it will give you scholarship information about scholarship, and then mentoring sessions, and then like sharing session with those who are already like talking to Kashka, but like there are lots of more speakers. Like, you can ask about their countries, about their culture, about how to be a foreigner there. I don't know. You have many other things that you want to ask, and you will get a new friends from around the world. Around the world, you will get a friends, and then there's also a chance for you to go to the USA and South Korea. So like that's so worth it. Yeah, that's worth it. All you have to do is just watch the webinar, pay attention, right? Take the quiz, and if you win, you go to the USA. It's like really easy. So it's like easy. But even if you're not a winner, you still get a lot of benefits. Yeah, as I mentioned before. Or maybe if you wanna see more details, you can check our website, internationalglobalnetwork.com/IYF. Yes, there you go. No more questions. I think there any other questions. Okay.
Okay. Well, I think our audience are quite enthusiastic tonight though. Like some of them are asking really good questions. Like
Yeah. Even though
important
not
questions.
not much question asked.
Yeah,
But when they're asking something, it's actually
very good.
very
Question.
good, very good question.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great, and having Kashka directly
Yeah.
with us now is very helpful. Right?
Yeah,
To
very
people.
helpful, and I really thank you, Kashka, for being here.
Yeah.
For talking, for taking your time
Taking
to
time to
talk with us.
Us, yeah.
You know, it's
It's
like
still morning in
it's
your
early.
time.
It's early
I know
in the
it's early
morning.
in your time, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
basically at night here in Jakarta,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
we know that in New York is in the morning, so we really appreciate
Thank you
your
very
effort and your
much,
time taking this
Kashka.
time. Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah, so I guess that will be all then for
Yeah.
this session, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much again to
Maybe
Kashka.
we can talk to Kashka in
And then
other
some other time,
yeah,
yeah.
other
So
time.
maybe if you guys are still interested, we can
So
like,
still in
yeah,
touch.
stay in touch with
Still in
us.
touch.
So yeah, I guess that would be
Thank
it
you very
then.
much, Kashka.
Thank you so much to our
And by the way,
guest.
you're very, very cute. I'm seeing you. I saw you
At the screen,
yeah on the screen. Like
she looks very cute.
yeah, you look very cute, and the way you answer questions, it's like so cute. You pinch your
Cheeks. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she's cute, right? You're like, yeah.
Thank you very
No,
much.
so thank you very much
Good luck
Kashka,
on
for
your
your time,
study.
and yeah, we wish you all the best for
Yeah.
your studies, and we
Wish all
hope
the
that whatever you do in life will be successful, right? And hopefully you can inspire other youths around the world to be just like you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's
You're basically inspiring me.
inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kashka. So, yeah, again, thank you guys so much for tuning into our live session. If there are any additional questions,
You can directly
DM us at
message
on
us.
Instagram and also our our WhatsApp. And yeah, we hope to see you guys next time on our next live session.
Yeah,
All
thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you so much,
Enjoy.
guys. She's Sabila, I'm Sheila, and we're signing out.
Bye bye. Thank you, Kashka.
Thank you, Kashka. Bye bye.